And then moving on to the other side, what happens when you have a incident itself? The incident response is really a collection of discrete events that come together in how you do your overall recovery. And to systematically improve your time to recovery, you need to have all of these elements and fine tune each of these elements to your organization's requirements. So from a detection, starting at the left-hand side and the start of the incident, which is the detection, you could look at things like observability toolings, but also logs and event correlation, because you may end up with multiple types of observability tools, and they would give you different levels of information. Linked to the tooling around detection is actually alerting. So it's one thing to know something has gone wrong through an observability tool. It's another thing for the teams that need to react on it to be actually told about it. And alerting comes in from your team's messages and emails, but also phone calls and text messages. And there are tools out there that will do automatic page outs. There are tools out there to manage the teams around your recovery. And this includes things like, well, people go on holiday, people are away, and people work on shifts. And how do you manage all these pieces in the broader organization? Once you have alerted, the next step is to assemble your recovery team. And this is where your incident processes and recovery playbooks become the focus of making sure that the team that is being assembled know their roles and responsibilities and know what they need to do. Investigating the cause of the disruption, this requires training, and it requires skills in the recovery team. Part of it is knowing the environment, and documentation obviously helps. Being able to read the logs that comes from your log management, knowing what common issues have plagued the environment or the technical environments, and then of course change records, because in many cases incidents arise due to a change. After investigation is obviously the fix. One part of the fix could be isolation. You could also reverse changes. You could talk about doing your recovery instructions from your recovery playbooks. And you could also look at automation in your recovery. This part of the recovery could also be to leverage environments such as your disaster recovery environments, so that you can potentially isolate the problem, recover to your disaster recovery, and then continue the fix. So the service is back up, and then you have a lower priority incident. And lastly is validation. And a good example here of validation that I've had lots of experience with is you bring back the service, but the service has itself some other elements that have not been recovered. And so having automated testing helps you to validate the full chain of the services running. The last piece of the agenda, recovery and is to adapt. And this is to learn from the disruptions. Postmortems, to really understand the root cause of the failure, is a key element. And one of the key things to highlight is that there can be more than one root cause. The root cause is not going to necessarily be a single item. It could be multiple contributing issues. And asking the question of why did this happen multiple times can really help you to get to the root cause. The reasons can be due to intent, such as your cyber issues. It could be control failures, such as errors, design issues, process failures, and even accidents. But trying to understand all the whys would give you a much better, clearer answer on all the contributing factors to a postmortem. Remediation is something to, of course, implement once you have recovered so that you have a longer term fix. But it's also important to note that the remediation could be required for many other systems in the organization. So you may have had the failure in one environment, but that same failure could be required in multiple places.